Good morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the third week of distance learning. It is now Monday, April the 13th. Okay. I hope you've had a good weekend. I hope you had a great Easter, and I hope that you are ready to get back started in our work today. Okay. All right. So we have a lot to get ready to do today. If you would get ready and get started and go ahead and find your materials. Today you're going to need your Riggs journal to begin with. You're going to need your pencil, and you're going to need to get ready to write down our new words for the week. Okay? All right. So today we're going to start with 6 words in our lesson. Okay, today the first word is grief. Grief. Okay, how many syllables does grief have? 1. Very good. Okay, grief begins with a g, 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 G. Okay, G makes 2 sounds. G, j. It's the first sound. Okay, no markings. R, R. Very good. R makes 1 sound, no markings. Okay. E. E. Is it the long E or is it a 2-letter E? 2-letter E. Very good. Okay. The 2-letter E. So we underlined it. I-E. Okay. Now remember, our word E, our letter E can be spelled with an I before an E unless it's after a C. Okay, very good. All right, and the last one is F. F makes 1 sound. Okay, very good. So this is our first word for today, grief. Now, what is grief? What part of speech do you think grief is? Okay, grief would be a noun. Grief would be the way you feel. Okay, so would you say it's a person, place, thing, or idea? Okay, it's an idea. Okay, you can't see it, but it's something you feel, like a sadness in your heart. Grief. Okay, the next word on our list is guilty. Guilty. How many syllables are in guilty? 2. Very good. G, g, g. Also a G. Okay, G makes 2 sounds. G, j. G is the sound I'm looking for. Okay, very good. Okay, now this next one we don't use very often. Does anybody remember the sounds here? Oo, I, Okay, it's the guilty. Okay, so would you say it's the oo sound, the I, or the I? Guilty. Okay, very good. So it's the third one. Okay, so we put a 3 over the UI, 2-letter sound. Ooh, ooh. L makes 1 sound, no markings. Gil, syllable dot. Very good. T, t, T. T makes 1 sound. So T has no markings. And then the E. E. What letter do you think? The Y. Okay, Y makes really 4 sounds. Ya, it, I, E. Which one is it? Guilty, the third sound. Guilty. Good job. Okay, the next word is fluffy. Fluffy. How many syllables is fluffy? 2. Very good. Starts with a F. F makes 1 sound. F, f. Fla, la, la. U. Okay. I'm sorry, L. L makes 1 sound. L. F, fluff, U. Okay. Is that short or long? short. U makes two sounds. Or four sounds. U, It's the the first sound, so no markings. Fluffy. Okay, now, just like we talked about last week, when you have two letters that are the same, two consonants, we often double L, F, S, and some others. But when you hear the first one, it is silent. How do we recognize a word that's silent? We put to underline it twice. So you don't hear the first F, you hear the fluff, and then you hear the fee. So we often double the F. So let's put another F. And then again, the same rule as guilty. Yeah. I, you hear the E. So you put a 3 above the Y. Okay. Very good. Okay. So these are your first 3 words. Okay. So we said grief was a noun. What part of speech do you think guilty and fluffy are? They're the same. Are they nouns, person, place, thing, or idea? No. Are they verbs? Are they action words or being verbs? No. They are adjectives. Okay. They describe. Okay. If you are guilty, that means that you have done something wrong. You are guilty. The judge said the man was guilty. He did something wrong. Okay, what's the opposite, the antonym for guilty? What means not guilty? Innocent. Very good. Innocent. Okay, so those 2 words are adjectives. The next word is swell. Swell is a word that can be at least 2 parts of speech, okay? I might say, you look swell in your outfit from yesterday. If I used swell to describe something, okay, that's a swell purse you've got there. That would be an adjective. Okay. If something swells, it gets bigger. So that could be an action, which is a verb. Very good. Okay. So we're going to use it here in the verb form. Okay. And I'm going to say how many syllables in the word swell. Okay. There are one syllable and it starts with a S. All right. What are the sounds of S? S, Z. Is it the first S or the Z? Okay. It's the first one. No markings. W, W. W has one sound and no markings. Eh, eh, eh. Short E. What are the sounds of E? Eh, E. First sound, no markings. L, L, L. No markings. L makes one sound. We often double L, F, and S. Very good at the end of a word. Swell. Swell can be an action, a verb, or it can be an adjective. Okay. The next word is account. Account. How many syllables in account? 2. Perfect. Okay. It starts with a. What letter do you think? A. Now, what are the sounds of A? A, aw. Doesn't fit any. What do we do with letters where the letter does not fit the sound? Oh, it is a think to spell or thinking cap A. Doesn't say doesn't say a, or all. It says account, thinking cap A. Good. Okay. Now, see. Often when you double letters, you put a syllable dot in between. Account is one of those words. We said the first one you do not hear. We underline it twice because it's silent. You hear the second one, a syllable dot, count. C. We double the C in account. And our next is a 2-letter sound. Ow, o, oo, account. The first one. No markings because it's the first one. Ow. O-U is the two-letter ow sound. Account. N, n, n. N. N has no markings because N makes one sound. And t, t. T. T has no markings because T makes one sound. If I say I'm going to open a bank account, what part of speech is account? It is a noun, account. Okay, good job. Account can also be a verb if you use it in some ways that, like, I need you to account for where you were. That would be a verb. Okay. All right. So these both can be two different parts of speech. We'll list them at the end. The last word I want to give you today is frost. How many syllables in the word frost? One. F. Frost. F makes one sound, no markings. R. R. R makes one sound, no markings. Ah. Ah. Okay. Ah, o, oo, frost. Actually, it's the fourth O for frost. The fourth O. Ah, o, oo, frost. S. What are the sounds of S? S. Z. It's the first one. No markings. T, 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 T. T has no markings because T makes one sound. Frost. Very good. Okay. There are your 6 words. Don't forget to type them into your document for the week. Tonight, you will practice your words, write them out. You can write them 3 times each if you want to the first night, since there's no quiz today, but make sure that you use 3 of those 6 words in good sentences, okay? All right. Now, I've looked at your sentences where you've written them, and I see some of you are taking your time. Some of you are writing good, thoughtful sentences. You're making them long. You're making me proud. And make sure that you're doing that. Don't write a sentence just because it's simple and it's 3 words. Make your sentence to be fun for the reader to read as well, okay? All right, so let's look at our list today and see any words that we learned out of these 6. Look at your Riggs journal and see if you can tell me any nouns that you see. Do you see any nouns? Grief. Grief is a sadness. Is it a person, place, thing, or idea? It's an idea. Very good. Okay, what's the antonym of grief? Antonym means opposite. If your grief is your sadness, what's the opposite or antonym of your grief? Your joy, happiness. Very good. Okay. All right. Do you see any other nouns? Okay. I see some that could be a noun and some that could be another. Account could be a noun. Okay. I'm going to open an account, a noun. Swell actually could be a noun. The swell of the ocean wave took me under. We could actually put swell under a noun as well. Swell can be 3 parts of speech. Can you believe that? And frost. The frost is on the pumpkin is a famous poem that we often learn. Okay? I think it's Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. These are your nouns that you can put in the back of your journal. Did you see any words that could be action words or verbs? Did you see any on our list that could be verbs? Okay, you could swell. My lip swelled when the bee stung my lip. Okay. Any other word that could be a verb there? Okay. I don't think so. All right. Any word that could be an adjective. What does an adjective do? What is the job of the adjective? It describes nouns and pronouns. Do you see any words that could be describing? Say them out loud. Guilty. Okay. Guilty. The guilty prisoner did his time. What else could be an adjective? Fluffy, fluffy, the fluffy cloud drifted in the sky. Okay, do you see any other words that could be? Swell, swell. You have a swell jacket on today. Okay, that means that I like it. All right, so those were your parts of speech today and your new words for the week. Okay, now practice those and make sure you mark turn in at the end of the week for the Riggs assignment. You can't turn it in until you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you turn it in, okay? All right, so it's been a few days since we've done our phonogram cards. I'd like to get those out and work those with you. If you are ready, get yourself, you might want to stand up, get ready to do these, and you can say them so someone can hear you in your, maybe in your house, okay? All right, A, 4 sounds. A, aw. Good job. C, 2 sounds. K, s. Good. D, 1 sound. D. F, 1 sound. F. What word do we have that started with a f sound? Fluffy. Fluffy. Good. This word, G, makes 2 sounds. G, j. We had 2 words with a g sound. Guilty, grief. Good. O, 4 sounds. Ah, o, oo, aw. Perfect. S, 2 sounds. S, z. What word did we have that starts with a s? Swell, swell. Q, U, 1 sound. Qu. B, 1 sound. B, b. E, 2 sounds. E, E. Good job. H, 1 sound. H, h. I, 3 sounds. I, I, E. Nice. J, 1 sound. J. K, 1 sound. K. L, 1 sound. L. M, 1 sound. M. N, 1 sound. N. P, 1 sound. P. Can you give me the alliteration for P? Had a little pig, put him in a pen, fed him on peach peelings, wanted him a little pig. He went pop. What's our pig's name from our story? Wilbur. Yes. R, 1 sound. T, 1 sound. T. U, 4 sounds. U, oo, Good. V, 1 sound. V. W, 1 sound. O. X, 1 sound. X. Y, 4 sounds. Ya. I, E. Ooh, what word had a E with a Y on our list? 2 words. Guilty, fluffy. And those are what part of speech? Adjectives. Good. Z, 1 sound. Z. Now our 2-letter sounds. The of, her. The of, early. The of, works. The of, nurse. The of, first. Shh. Used at the beginning of a word, at the end of a syllable, but not at the beginning of most syllables, after the first one, except for the ending, ship. Good. E, double E, always says E. Good. F, f, f. A, 2-letter A that we do use at the end of English words. A, 2-letter A that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. Ow, oh, cow and snow. Can you remember last week's word that had a O ending? Window. Good. Ow, oh, ooh, What word has this ow sound? Account. Good job. Aw that we do use at the end of English words. Aw that we do not use at the end of English words. Ooh, you that we do use at the end of English words. ooh, you that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with you. Good. Oi that we do use at the end of English words. Oi that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. Ooh, oh. Good. Ch, k, sh, ch, k, sh. Ng, e, a. Very good. R, k, two-letter k, used after a single vowel that says a, e, a. What word did we have last week that had the k sound? Nickel. Very good. Very good. Ed, past tense ending, or hua. Ooh, I, what word has this sound in our list today? Guilty. Is it the ooh? I, guilty. The sound. Good. O, the O of boat. A-E that we do use at the end of English words. A-E that we do not use at the end of English words. A, four-letter A. I, three-letter I. Now, this one we use today. E-I. It can say E like the one we had today. Grief. Grief says E, even though it's a I-E. We say E-I, but we write I before E unless it's after a C. Good job. Two-letter used at the beginning of a base word. Two-letter two-letter f. Two-letter used both at the beginning and end of a base word. J, three-letter J, used after a single vowel that says a, e, I, a. O, the O of toe. Ch, three-letter ch, used after a single vowel that says a, e, I, a. Sh, short letter sh, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Sh, tall letter sh, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Sh, z, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. O, oo, uff, off, aw, ow. One more time. O, oo, uff, off, aw, ow. Yes, you did it. You did it today. And guess what I have for you today? Miss Gaylord has your 5 stars today, but today I have dogs. I have your 5 dogs. You just got your first one with your Rigs lesson. Thank you. Okay. If you need to press pause on the video, pause and gather your materials for us to begin the next thing. Okay. Now, how many of you have been practicing some of your math? Okay. Now, yesterday was Easter, and when Miss Gaylord was a little girl, she used to get little plastic eggs with change in some of them. I would go for an egg hunt or something, and I'd go, and sometimes people would put in little bits of change. Did you make something to practice with, like the 10 that we made last week? Let's see where we left off. We did these 3 together, okay? And let's start over here today. This one says 52 cents. Can you tell me what pieces of change would make 52 cents? Let's start with the biggest, okay? the biggest. Since I don't have a 50-cent piece, I'm going to use this. What is this worth? This is a quarter, and it's worth 25 cents. How could I make 52 cents? I've got one quarter. I'm going to add another quarter. And how much do I have? 50 cents. 2 quarters is 50 cents. To get to 52, I want to add a penny and another penny. 2 quarters and 2 pennies is going to give me my 52 cents. Very good. The next piece says 79 cents. Okay. Can you think of the least amount of coins that can help me get 79 cents? Okay. Well, what's the biggest coin that I have in my pile? I've got a quarter. How much is a quarter worth? Okay, 25 cents. Good. Okay, so if I added another quarter, second quarter, how much do I have? 25 plus 25 would be 50. Good, 50 cents. And then I'm going to add another quarter. Okay, 25, 25, and 25 is 75 cents. I've got to get to 79. Can I add another quarter? Nope, that's $1. Can I add a dime? What would 75 plus a dime be? 85. Too big. Too big. Can I add a nickel? A nickel. What would 75 plus a nickel be? 80. Too big. So now I need to add the smallest bit. Now I've got 75 already, 25, 50, 75, and I want to add one more, which gives me 76, 77, 78, 80. How many pieces of change can I drop in here? I drop in 3 quarters and 4 pennies, which makes it 7 pieces in here. 7 pieces. Okay. Can you practice at home with your math and your counting? Okay. All right. So what if I have some bills? Let's see. I've got these bills I want to look at today. Okay. I've got one $10 bill. I've got a 1, another 1, another 1, and I've got a 5. Can you tell me how much money I have here? I'd start with the biggest, which is my 10, and then I would add my 5. Okay, how much is my 10 and my 5? $15. Okay, and then I've got 3 more ones to add. 3 more ones, so then that would be 15 plus 3, which is $18. Now that was a simple problem. You can write some down have mom or dad write some down for you to make sure you are practicing your money to keep you ready and get you ready for 3rd grade next year as well. Okay? Very good. Another thing that you can practice daily, of course, is your time. Today I pulled out my big clock. Okay, so you can actually see a little bit better. What time is it now? Can you tell? What time is it now? It's 3:11. Okay, very good. Now let's pretend we were back in school today. What day would you get to come in Miss Gaylord's? What time would you get to come in Miss Gaylord's classroom? Does anybody remember? 7:25. Okay, 7:25. Now let's add 10 minutes to that time. What time would it be? 10 minutes. 7:35. 7:35. Okay, you came in after 7:35. You were late. How many more minutes to get to the next hour? Let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And what time would it be then? 8 o'clock. Very good. 8 o'clock. Okay. Let's say you started again at 7:25 What time would it be when you had been to school for 1 hour? See, 1 hour. Okay, I'm going to come around. Now we've been in school 35 minutes and add another 25. And now what time is it? 8:25. Okay, so you can practice some time problems as well. What do we call the shorthand on the clock? Okay, the shorthand is the hour hand. What do we call the long hand? The minute hand. What kind of clock is this? Is this a digital clock or an analog? An analog. Very good. Okay, now this is the time where we get somewhat confused. Can you tell what time it is now? You've got 3 more minutes to the hour. So is it 9 something? No, it's 8:57. 8:57. Okay, practice when your longhand is near the 11, 12, 10. That's where we seem to need to practice. Make sure that you are doing that as well. Okay, very good. All right, so as we start our math lesson, let's review very quickly. Today we're going to talk about, so some people love to talk about this. It's called fractions. Fractions. Okay, so let's look and remember what our shapes were. We're going to do it real quickly today. Just say it out loud. Hexagon. Good job. Trapezoid. Rhombus. Rhombus. Triangle. Square. Okay. Miss Gaylord also has rectangles and pentagons, not handy. This is the one shape I want to look at today. Okay. This is not a straight-sided shape. This is a curved shape, but it is going to do us well today as we practice with our new skill. Okay, so this is called, of course, a circle. If you have your text printed out, we're looking at page 264 today. This is what it looks like in your book. 264 is where we are today. Now, we're going to take 2 shapes today. Miss Gaylord's pulled back out the square, okay, so she can show you. So she's pulled back out the square and the circle. I wish I had my felt shapes. I left them at school, and I don't have those to show you, but I'll do the best I can, okay? All right. So when you have shapes and you want to divide them in equal parts, how do you do it? All right, a lot of people think about a pie. Have you ever helped mom or dad or grandma maybe make a pie? Okay, a pie is usually, doesn't have to be, but it's usually in the shape of a circle. Okay, and I think about that pie when I teach my children shapes and fractions. Okay, I think about that pie. Now, that's a large pie to eat by yourself. But if you want to divide that pie up, we call those fractions. Now, we can take circles and we can divide them into different parts. But you know what? Just like we learned last week with the rectangles, all the parts that make up the shape have to be what? Equal size. Equal size. Okay, so Miss Gaylord's going to draw 3 circles. Now, this is not exact, but it's the best she can do on the video. Okay, these 3 circles are about the same size. Okay, and we're going to pretend that they're about this size too. Okay. All right, so in your book, you see that you took a circle and you divided it up into parts, okay? You've got the pie, and you say, I'm going to take this pie, I'm going to divide it into what we call half, okay? So I'm going to make a line right down the middle. One half is in white, and this one is in red. Now, Miss Gaylord's going to she doesn't have her red handy, so she's going to draw a line to show the difference. This is one half, and this is half. How many equal parts are here? Yes, good. 2. Okay, so you've got 2 equal, what we call parts here. Okay, so I want to take that same circle and I want to divide it up into thirds. Now I've got 3 people that want to eat the pie. Would I make a line down the center for that one? No, I need to make it divided into 3 different parts. So I want to make them the same shape. So I use this way. Some people call this, looks like a peace sign. Okay, and now I have 3 equal parts. I've got one part here. I'm going to make a diagonal line. I've got one part here that's going to be left white, and then I'm going to make some polka dots here on the third part. Do you see how those, they're not exact, but they're 3 equal parts. Okay, now I've taken the same pie, the same circle, and divided it in 3 ways. Another way that I can divide my circle is to divide it into 4 parts, okay? I'm going to first divide it into halves, and then I'm going to divide it in what we call fourths. That means 4 people can get part of this pie, okay? I'm going to make one diagonal. I'm going to give one the polka dots. I'm going to leave one white, and I'm going to give one a squiggly line. Okay, do you see how they're 4 different parts? 4 different parts, but they're all equal. They're 4 equal parts. Do you notice something about the circles? Remember last week we talked about compare and contrast? If you compare the circles, they're all the same size. That's something the same, the compare part about them. But what's different? Okay, as you divide the circle up, the parts are getting what? Smaller. If you only have 2 equal parts, you've got two big parts to eat. If you have to divide it into thirds, the parts are getting smaller. And if you divide it in fourths, the parts are getting even smaller. Okay, so that's something to notice. Now, if you think about equal parts, look at the think part. It says, equal parts cover an equal amount of the shape. Now, this time I want to use my square. Okay, I'm going to do the best I can with my bands to show you. This time I've got a square that I want to divide into equal parts. Now, I could make several shapes from this, okay? If you take your pencil and make the shapes with me, that would help. What about if I want to make an equal part? I'm going to start here, and I'm going to make what I call a triangle. Okay, now this is the same square. One part here, I'm going to use the yellow band to show you, and then I'm going to use the red band to show the other part. Okay, are those triangles the same size? Yes. So take your paper and you can draw a diagonal line across the shape from one corner to the other corner. And now I have 2 pieces that are the same size. 1, 2. That's one way to divide my square. Can you think of another way to divide my square? Okay, I'm going to take these bands off and think of another way. You think in your mind of another way. I'm going to use my same yellow and red. Can you think of another way why I make it? Go ahead and write it on your paper. Okay, I took the same square, but I divided it another way. I divided it down the middle. Now, you may have turned it this way, and that's the same answer. Either way, you divided it down the middle. So for the second square, you can make this shape. We've just taken a square and divided it into what we call halves. There are how many parts in halves? 2. And they are the same what? Size. We made a diagonal mark like a triangle, and we also made 2 rectangles. Okay? Now, it says, think about sharing a sandwich with a friend. When I cut my boys' sandwiches, I cut it this way. I cut it up and down. I just have a habit of making rectangles. Do you know when I was a little girl, my mom cut my sandwich in triangles. That was her way. And so she always cut the sandwich in triangles. And so when I went to school, when I was your age, when I took a sandwich, it looked like this. These are two different ways to take the same square and make two equal parts. Now it says, look at the last example of on the square. It says this time, show a in this square, one part is bigger than the other. So in this square, I'm going to try to get another band to show you. In this square, I made the sandwich cut in two different parts, okay? I gave one person this shape, and I gave the other this shape, okay? In your book, I think it looks like this and this. Is that fair to cut a sandwich that way if you're going to give it to two people? That is not equal, okay? In this part, one side is bigger than the other side. Now you take the square and draw another way that the sandwich could be equal, not the triangle way and not with the rectangle way that goes up and down like this. Think of another way that you could. You can't use this one. They already used this one. And you can't use the triangle way. What's another way you could take the sandwich and make it equal? Can you think? This way. Rectangle on top, rectangle on bottom. Draw it on your paper if you've not already done so. Good job. Okay. Now, looking at the next page, I want to see if you can help me draw equal parts on the paper. Miss Gaylor just loves fractions. I wish I had all my fraction pieces to show you. But I'll do the best I can on this dry erase board, okay? All right, so it says, these squares are all the same size. Each smaller shape covers 1/4 of the square. So each smaller shape is an equal part of the square. Okay, so they took 3 squares. And again, I'm going to do the best I can, even though this is not perfect like your book is perfect. This will be the best Miss Gaylor can do. They took 3 squares and they want you to divide them into fourths, okay? All right, so on the first square, they divided it into fourths by taking one line down the middle, that's half, and one line across, so that would be fourths. Okay, think about that. That's one way to divide if it's a sandwich and you want to make 4 equal pieces. We call those fourths. Do you know that this is the way you write 1/4? 1 fraction bar fourth. 1/4, okay? Now, in the second one, they also want to divide that in fourths, but they did divide it in a different way. They started with the line down the middle, but that's not fourths, right? That's what? That is halves. And then we can take the one side and make a fourth and a fourth, but we also then we took this and made a triangle side. So actually, would everybody be getting the same amount of food if that was a sandwich? Yes, very good. Okay, so another way to divide that sandwich would be give everybody one piece. Can you think of another way to divide it up? Okay, start by dividing a line down the middle, and then everybody gets a rectangular shape of the sandwich that's about that length, okay? All of those are part of the whole of the sandwich. Okay, it says, another way you could have done it, it was to take this shape, could have done a fourth way, and you could have taken the shape and divided it this way. That would have also been a fourth. 1/4. Now look at the one below. These squares are the same size as the ones above. Each is divided into 3 equal parts or thirds. So each shape is an equal part of the square. Okay, so this one is not divided into halves. It's divided into a smaller part. That's taking one sandwich and dividing it into 3 parts, okay? So they gave you the same size squares and asked us to divide them into what we call thirds, 3 parts. Each part should be 1/3, okay? So the first way they did it was to divide them into rectangles, and everybody gets 1/3. The next way they did it is they took a third, and then what was left, they divided that into thirds. Okay, that's 3 parts. Okay, so everybody actually still gets the same amount of food. The last way they did it was they gave one person a third, and then each of those would be a third. Okay, now look at your talk about it. Draw 2 squares that are the same size as the ones above. Divide one into fourths and one into thirds in different ways than they have listed above. Which parts are bigger, fourths or thirds? Okay, so I'm going to leave my thirds on the paper, and I'm going to draw you some of the same size squares of fourths. So your job is to come up with a different way, okay, than these listed. Okay, so look at your thirds. These are thirds, 1/3. And now these are fourths. Let's take the same, let's divide it into fourths. Can you see? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you tell which parts are smaller? Are the thirds smaller or the fourths smaller? The fourths are smaller. Good job. The fourths are smaller. When you go to write your talk about it, after you drew your 2 pictures, you could write which pieces are bigger, thirds or fourths? Thirds. Which ones are smaller? Fourths. You could say thirds are bigger because the parts are bigger. Fourths are smaller because they take up less space. Something like that when you write your answer out, okay? Very good. All right. So pat yourself on the back. You've got another star and you got another cute dog today. Okay. Very good. Now you've got 2 dogs. If you need to press pause on the video, you can do that. If you need to gather your materials for reading, you can also do that as well. We're going to look now in our reading book. We're going to be in, if you've printed out the pages, let's see where we are. We are going to be on page 352. 352. Okay. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Keep it up. All right. 352. Today's unit is on using connecting words and pictures. Connecting words from pictures. Miss Gettler pulled a book out from her library today, and I want you to show you a few pictures. I want you to see if you can connect what the little story is about by looking at the picture. Many times I bet you can. Look at the picture right there without looking at the words. Can you tell what that picture's got about? Okay, it looks like who? A beekeeper. It looks like bees, a beehive, and it looks like bees are buzzing around. Okay, it's called Busy as a Bee. Okay, can you connect some information about that? Maybe what the story's about? How about this one? Okay, it looks like a girl hiking her way up a snow-covered mountain. Okay, looks like mountain climbing. You can connect from that picture. Okay, how about this one? It looks like someone's teaching on the human body, right? The human body. Let's do one more. Let's find another one. Okay, how about this one? Okay, what looks like happening here? It looks like it's a windy day. It looks like someone's reporting some news. You can gather lots of information, guys, by looking at pictures in books. Don't you love picture books? When you read a book, don't you love to look at the pictures? I try to show you the pictures when I'm reading the books to you. Do you know you can use information from pictures and words in a story to help you better understand the story? What are the parts of the story that you might be able to understand? Um, the main part of what happens in the story? It's called the plot. You can understand the plot of the story. What's the word for where the story takes place? The setting of the story. And what's the word for the people that are in the story? The characters of the story. Very good. Okay, so let's look on your book on 352. Words and pictures, which is the word for illustrations, work together to better help you understand what happens in a story. They give you details about the setting or where the story takes place. Words and pictures also help you know what the characters are like. They also help you understand the plot of what is happening in the story. Now, right now, we're reading this story, okay? What's the setting of Charlotte's Web? Okay, the setting would be in the barnyard, okay, at the farm, remember? What would be, who would be the main characters of this story? Okay, we've met Wilbur. Now, last week we met this character, the spider, who's Charlotte. We've met the person that loves Wilbur, who is Fern. Good, and some of the other animals. Do you see how this Miss Gaylord shows you the illustrations in the book to help you understand as well? Can you look in your book on page 352 where it talks about these two pictures? Look at picture number 1 and then look at picture number 2. Read the sentences and look at the illustrations. What do the pictures tell you that the words do not? Okay, so I'm looking here at the pictures. I'm looking at the picture. Where does the picture look like it takes place? What's the setting possibly of this picture? Looks like an amusement park, right? Maybe some kind of fair. What does it say on top of the picture? It says tornado ride. Okay, where would you ride a ride at? Okay, at an amusement park. Okay, before you even look at the words, look at picture number 2. What looks like it's happening in picture number 2? Okay, it looks like they're actually on the ride, right? Are they still at the amusement park? Yes, very good. Okay, so let's look and see what the pictures tell us that the words do not. Here's the words for picture 1. Picture 1, Allison says, I don't want to go on the roller coaster. Oh, come on, said her mom. It'll be fun. Can you look at that picture and tell what Allison is doing? Does she look happy, excited to be going up to that roller coaster? Not really, okay? Not really. She says, I don't want to go on the roller coaster. But her mom says, oh, come on, it'll be fun. Look at picture number 2. What's Allison doing? Woo, hoo, hoo. She's riding and got her hands up in the air, right? As it turns out, her mom was right, sort of. Now, sometimes captions can help us better understand pictures. In this lesson today, I'm going to divide up my paper, and you're going to also do this on your paper when you print it out, and you're going to show from picture 1 what the sentences tell. Okay, what the sentences tell us, the reader. And then in the second part, you're also going to write down what this picture shows. Okay, what the picture actually shows. Now, they have done some of these for you Okay. And this is what your diagram looks like. In picture number 1, okay, it says for you, Allison doesn't want to go on the ride. She says, I don't want to go on the roller coaster, said Allison. And then her mother, the sentences tell something else. What does her mother say? Her mother says, it will be fun. Okay, so this is what we would write on what the sentences tell. Her mom says, come on, it'll be fun. What did the pictures actually show? In the beginning, it shows the family by the gate. Okay, you would need to write a good sentence. I don't have room here, but in your instance, you're going to type out a good sentence. It shows the family by the gate. And how does Allison look in the picture? Okay, Allison looks excited, happy. No, Allison looks what? Scared. She looks scared. Okay, what do her parents look like? Her parents look excited. Okay, so make sure you mention that in the first part for the picture number 1. Now, I don't have a lot of room, but you probably have more room. What the sentence is told in that instance was her mother says it will be fun. What the picture actually shows is the family at the gate and Allison looking scared and her parents looking excited. In picture number 2, it says, the sentences tell Allison's mom was partly right. They already filled that in for you. And what does the picture show in picture number 2? It shows Allison having a good time. Okay, so I'd write that in my sentence. Allison is having fun. Okay, she has her hands up. And what does her parents look like in that picture? The parents look like I would look, scared. The parents actually look scared. And Allison looks like, woohoo, I'm having some fun. I ran out of room, but you have more room on yours, okay? Very good. So you see, sometimes pictures and words help us understand what's going on. Connecting the words and the pictures to a story can actually help us put the whole story together and get the information right. Now let's review these 4 words. Who are the characters of a book? The characters would be the people and animals in a story. What is the setting of a book or story? Okay, that's actually where the story takes place. What is the plot of a story? That's actually what happens in the story. And these pictures are called the illustrations. Illustrations, very good. Okay. All right, so you can continue to work on that. And remember, the reading document cannot be turned in until the end of the week. So Thursday, you can turn in the reading document, okay? All right, you got your 3rd star and you get your next little dog today. Good job. If you need to pause the video, take a break, get a quick sip of water, take a brain break, or get a little exercise, come back to us, and you can join us for social studies, okay? All right. So we only have 2 more days in this unit for social studies. Let's see if I can pull that up real quickly. Okay. So we have been talking about the study of economy. Okay. What does the word economy mean? Okay. Using resources. Now, what kind of resources would Miss Gaylor be talking about when she mentions the word resources? She's shown you those pictures each day. Okay. Resources would be people can be resources, equipment, good job. Okay. What else can be resources? Okay, money is a resource that we need. We've covered. Very good. People, equipment, money, natural resources. Good. Natural resources are things like water, air, dirt, trees. Very good. Okay. So we've been talking about those things. What did we learn last week was when something you don't have a lot of something, something is scarce. Very good. Okay. Right now, I go to the grocery store and have a hard time finding some paper products, paper towels and such. They're scarce. When we buy something, what's the name of something that we give up when we buy something? Last week, we learned that your opportunity cost. Very good. Okay. We also talked about what if you don't have the cash money, this medium of exchange. Instead, you want to trade something like the fisherman and the knife. We call that bartering. Very good. Okay. So then we talked about also, let's review. In the PowerPoint today, it's a review. Okay. What are the things called that you buy? Goods. Yes. What are the things called that someone does for you or you pay for? Services. Nice. Then we talked about the way to decide how we spend our money. What does that word mean? Allocate. Good. Okay. So as you review the PowerPoint, remember the 6 ways to allocate? People decide to buy things by how high the price is. Okay. Majority rule. If you take a vote, the one that gets the most votes wins. Contest, like the winner gets the prize. Force. Okay. Whoever's strong enough gets the prize. Sharing. We decided, like in math today, to divide things out and share. Or the last one is a lottery. You put your name in a hat and they pull it out randomly to see who gets the good. Okay, so that's a review. The next part we talked about last week was saving money. If you get money and you decide to put some of it away for later, we call that saving. You can spend the money you earn, or you can save a portion of it to spend later. If you do save it, do you know that money adds up over time? Remember the story of Evan and Rachel? And Evan spent all of his money at the dollar store, but Rachel saved hers. And in the future, she got to buy the good that she wanted. Remember, what was it that she wanted? That art set. Yes, good. So let's see if we can see how to save money. Now, people usually save their money to buy goods or things they need. Like my car's in the shop. I really need to get it repaired. I'm going to have to save up some of my paycheck to get it repaired. And so I want to save my money for that. Or maybe I want to take my family on vacation and we haven't gone anywhere in a long time and I want to save some money and go spend a couple of nights in a hotel somewhere. I would need to save for that. Okay. Now, remember the activity with Rachel and Evan. If you spend it all, will you be able to spend it later? No. So you'll need to put away some of the money for another time when you can save it for later. Okay. All right. So today's lesson also, and tomorrow, we're going to talk about costs and benefits of things. A benefit is something that's good for you. What's something that you can do right now that's good for you while you're home? You can go outside. Good. You can run around. You can play. You can get some sunshine, but not too much sunshine, right? You can do things that are fun. Those are good things for you. What else can you do for yourself that's good? Okay. You can take vitamins. Yes. You can drink plenty of water. Okay, you can wear sunscreen when you go outside. Those are benefits for you. Okay, good things for you. Now, a cost is what you give up for something. We already talked about the word opportunity cost. If you decide to save your allowance for that whole month, you can get something you like. Maybe you've been trying to save for something good. What is it that you really want to save for? Is it a new special piece of clothing that you like, girls? Or maybe it's a toy that you've been trying to save for? Maybe, guys, you like Legos or something else like that. Okay. Now, if you save your money, that's a benefit. That's a good thing for you to do. That's a benefit of saving, is that you're going to be able to spend that money and have it when you want to have it. Okay. The cost of saving was what you gave up and you weren't able to buy because you're saving it. Remember Rachel? She gave up buying the dollar here, the dollar store, the candy, the Takis, the soda. She didn't buy the little toy at the dollar store. Instead, she saved it. That was her cost, right? The cost of saving was what she'll be able to spend that money later. Okay. All right. So you have one more Google form to take on economy this week. Okay. So today, Monday, and then tomorrow, Tuesday, you will have 2 more lessons, these on economy, and then we're going to jump to science to another lesson to begin to learn. Okay. All right. You got the next. This time you got a blue cat. Okay. And you need to get one more. So listen carefully. If you need to press pause, do so. We're in our book. I hope by now maybe you've gotten your copy of Charlotte's Web. If you have, we're on page 42, chapter 6, Summer Days. Now, there's an activity in your Google Classroom you need to complete on Charlotte's Web that is covers chapters 1 through 5. Don't forget to take that in the classroom, okay? Today, you're on chapter 6, Summer Days. Who did Wilbur meet last week in the story? That's one of the main characters. Charlotte. Very good. What is Charlotte? Charlotte is a spider. A spider. How does a spider get its food? Charlotte is a trapper. So the spider traps the food in her what? In her web. It says, what does Charlotte like about the insects? She likes blood. Okay, she's a spider. Wilbur didn't quite like that at first. He thought, I don't know about this Charlotte. She seems rather harsh, rather bloodthirsty to me. But it said in the last part that he would find Charlotte proved to be a friend in the end. Let's keep going. Summer days. The early summer days on a farm are the happiest and fairest days of the year. Lilacs bloom, which are flowers, and make the air sweet and then fade. Apple blossoms come with the lilacs, and bees visit around among the apple trees. The days grow warm and soft. School ends, and the children have time to play and to fish for trout in the brook. Avery, remember her brother Avery, often brought home a trout in his pocket, warm and stiff and ready to be fried for supper. Now, most of us don't live on a farm. Sometimes I wish I did, that so you could really experience life cycles and things like this. That seems like it would be fun. Now that school was over, Fern visited the barn almost every day to sit quietly on her stool. The animals treated her as an equal. The sheep lay calmly at her feet. Around the 1st of July, the workhorses were hitched to the mowing machine, and Mr. Zuckerman climbed into the seat and drove onto the field. All morning you could hear the rattle of the machine as it went round and round, while the tall grasses fell down behind the cutter bar in long green swaths, okay, which were just layers. Next day, if there was no thunder shower, all hands would help rake and pitch and load, and the hay would be hauled up to the barn in the high hay wagon with Fern and Avery riding at the top of the load. Then the hay would be hoisted, lifted up, sweet and warm, into the big hay loft. A loft is a place overhead, and the whole barn seemed to smell like a wonderful bed of timothy and clover. It was fine to jump in, and it was perfect to hide in. And sometimes Avery would find a little grass snake in the hay and would add it to the other things in his pocket. Can you imagine that? Early summer days are a jubilee time for birds. What do you think the word jubilee means there? A happy time. In the fields around the house, in the barn, in the woods, in the swamp, everywhere, love and songs and nests and eggs. From the edge of the woods, the white-throated sparrow, which is a bird, which must come all the way from Boston, calls out, "Oh, Peabody, Peabody, Peabody." On an apple bough, the phoebe teeters and wags its tail. That's another bird, and it seems to say, "Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe." The song sparrow, who knows how brief and lovely life is, says, "Sweet, sweet, sweet interlude, sweet, sweet, sweet interlude." There's that repetition there. If you enter the barn, the swallows swoop down from their nest, and they seem to say, "Chicky, chicky, chicky." In early summer, there are plenty of things for a child to eat and drink and suck and chew. Dandelion stems are full of milk. You know what a dandelion is? It's that wishing flower. It's really a weed, but sometimes we blow it if we find one and we wish on it. Clover heads are loaded with nectar, and the Frigidaire, which is their refrigerator, is full of ice-cold drinks. Everywhere you look is life, even the little ball of spit on the weed stalk. If you poke it apart, has a green worm in it. And on the underside of the leaf of the potato vine are the bright orange eggs of the potato bug. It was on a day early in summer that the goose eggs hatched. How many days would the goose have to sit on her eggs? Okay, about 28 days to 30 days, yes. This was an important event in the barn cellar. Fern was there sitting on her stool when it happened. Except for the goose herself, Charlotte was the first to know that the goslings had arrived. What's a gosling? A baby goose. The goose knew a day in advance they were coming. She could hear their weak voices calling from inside the egg. She knew that they were desperately cramped, positioned in the shell, and they were most anxious to break through and get out. So she sat quite still, and she talked less than usual. When the first gosling poked its gray-green head through the goose's feathers and looked around, Charlotte spied it and made the announcement. "I am sure," she said, "that every one of us here will be gratified to learn that after 4 weeks of intermittent effort and patience on the part of our friend the goose, she now has something to show for it. The goslings have arrived," said Charlotte. "May I offer my sincere congratulations." "Thank you, thank you, thank you," said the goose, nodding and bowing shamelessly. "Thank you," said the gander. That's the male, the dad, the goose. "Congratulations," shouted Wilbur. "How many goslings are there? I can only see one." "There are 7," said the goose. "Fine," said Charlotte. 7 is a lucky number. "Luck had nothing to do with this," said the goose. "It was good management and hard work." What do you think the goose had to do to get those eggs to lay, to come out of the shells? She had to sit on them, right? At this point, Templeton, remember him? What is he? He's the rat. Showed his nose from his hiding place under Wilbur's trough. He glanced at Fern, then crept cautiously toward the goose, keeping close to the wall. Everyone watched him because you know what? He was not well liked, and he was not trusted, that rat. "Look," he began in his sharp voice, "you may have 7 goslings. There were 8 eggs. What happened to the other egg? Why didn't it hatch?" "It's a dud, I guess," said the goose. Do you know what she meant by a dud? Remember how when we put our eggs into the incubator to hatch, you remember how they didn't hatch? So they were duds. "What are you going to do with it?" continued Templeton, with his little round beady eyes fixed on the goose. What does Templeton want? The 8th egg. "You can have it," replied the goose. "Roll it away and add it to that nasty collection of yours." You see, Templeton had a habit of picking up unusual objects around the farm and storing them in his home. He saved everything. Certainly, said the gander. "You may have the egg. But I'll tell you one thing, Templeton. If I ever catch you poking your ugly nose around our goslings, I will give you the worst pounding that a rat ever took." And the gander opened his strong wings and beat the air to show them his power. He was strong and brave, but the truth is, both the goose and the gander were worried about Templeton. And with good reason. You see, Templeton had no morals. Okay, no morals that he did things that were the right way. He had no scruples, no consideration, no decency, no milk of rodent kindness, no compunctions, no higher feelings, no friendliness or anything. So Templeton was not their friend. He would kill a gosling if he could get away with it. And the goose knew that. Everybody knew that. With her broad bill, the goose pushed the unhatched egg out of the nest, and the entire company watched in disgust while the rat rolled it away. Even Wilbur, who could eat almost anything, was appalled. Okay, appalled means, oh, he was just, he couldn't believe it. Imagine wanting a junky, rotten old egg, he muttered. Wilbur did. A rat is a rat, said Charlotte, and she laughed a tinkling little laugh. But my friends, if that ancient egg ever breaks, this barn will be untenable. Do you know what she meant by that? What does a rotten egg do? Ooh, it smells. She says, if this thing ever breaks open, whew, it's going to smell. What does that mean? Asked Wilbur. It means that nobody will be able to live in here on account of the smell. Account. A rotten egg is a regular stink bomb. Do you know what kind of figurative language that is? Is it a simile? Does it use like or as? No. What's the kind of figurative language that compares two things without using like or as? It says a rotten egg is a stink bomb. That's a metaphor, a metaphor. What does it compare the rotten egg to? The stink bomb. Good. I won't break it, snarled Templeton. I know what I'm doing. I handle stuff like this all the time. He disappeared into his tunnel, pushing the goose egg in front of him. He pushed and nudged until he succeeded into rolling it to his lair under the trough. Do you know what a lair is? Okay. L-A-I-R. Not liar. That's when the I's before the A. Lair. His lair would be the animal's home, like his den, right? His home. So now he has the egg, the rotten egg, in his home under the trough. That afternoon, when the wind had died down and the barn yard was quiet and warm, the gray goose led her 7 goslings off the nest and out into the world. Mr. Zuckerman spied them. He saw them when he came with Wilbur's supper. Well, hello there, he said, smiling all over. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 baby geese. Now, isn't that lovely? Chapter 7, Bad News. Wilbur liked Charlotte better and better each day. Her campaign against insects seemed sensible and useful. Hardly anybody around the farm had a good word to say about a fly. Flies spent their time pestering others, bothering. The cows hated them. The horses detested them, which we learn means hated them. The sheep loathed them, which means the same. Mr. and Mrs. Zuckerman were always complaining about them, putting up screens for the flies. Wilbur admired the way Charlotte managed. He was particularly glad that she always put her victim to sleep before eating it. It's real thoughtful of you to do that, Charlotte, he said. Yes, she replied in her musical, sweet voice. I always give them a little anesthetic so they won't feel the pain. It's a little service that I throw in. Okay, an anesthetic would be something so they won't feel the pain. As the days went by, Wilbur grew, and he ate 3 big meals a day. He spent long hours lying on his side, half asleep, dreaming pleasant dreams. He enjoyed good health, and he gained a lot of weight. One afternoon, when Fern was sitting on her stool, the oldest sheep walked into the barn and stopped to pay a call on Wilbur. Hello, she said. Seems to me you are putting on weight. Well, yes, I am, replied Wilbur. At my age, it's a good idea to keep gaining. Just the same, said the sheep, I don't envy you, which means I'm glad I'm not you. No, said Wilbur. You know why they're fattening you up, don't you? Said the sheep. No, said Wilbur. Well, I don't like to spread bad news, said the sheep, but they're fattening you up because they're going to kill you, that's why. They're going to what? Screamed Wilbur. Fern even grew rigid on her stool. Kill you, said the sheep, turn you into smoked bacon and ham, continued the old sheep. Almost all young pigs get murdered by the farmer as soon as the real colder weather sets in. There's a regular conspiracy, okay, a regular secret around here to kill you, she said at Christmas time. Everybody's in the plot. That means everybody knows about it. Lurvy, Zuckerman, even John Arable. Mr. Arable? Sobbed Wilbur, Fern's father. Certainly, said the sheep. When a pig is to be butchered, everybody helps. Butchered means that to kill the animal. I'm an old sheep and I see the same thing, same old business year after year. Arable arrives with his 22 and shoots the... Stop, screamed Wilbur. I don't want to die. Somebody save me, save me, Wilbur screamed out. Fern was just about to jump up when a voice was heard. Be quiet, Wilbur, said Charlotte, who'd been listening to this whole awful conversation. I can't, screamed Wilbur. Wilbur so upset. Wilbur raced up the down. I don't want to be killed. He said, I don't want to die. Is it true what the old sheep's saying, Charlotte? Is it true? Is it true they're going to kill me when the cold weather comes? Well, said the spider, plucking thoughtfully at her web, the old sheep has been around this barn for a long time. She has seen many a spring pig come and go. And if she says they plan to kill you, I'm sure it's true. It's also the dirtiest trick I've ever heard of. What people don't think of. And Wilbur burst into tears. I don't want to die, he said. He moaned, I want to stay alive right here in my comfortable manure pile with all of my friends. I want to breathe the beautiful air and lie in the beautiful sun. Well, you certainly are making a beautiful noise, snapped the old sheep. I don't want to die, said Wilbur, throwing himself to the ground. You shall not die, said Charlotte briskly. What? Really? Said Wilbur. Well, who's going to save me? I am, said Charlotte. How? Said Wilbur. That remains to be seen, but I'm going to save you, and I want you to quiet down immediately. You're carrying on in a childish way. Charlotte says, stop your crying. She says, I cannot stand hysterics. We're going to leave Charlotte and Wilbur there for today. Okay, if you want to read ahead for chapter 7, bad news. I'm sorry, we read chapter 7. Number 8, if you want to read chapter 8, a talk at home, you can do so at your house, okay? All righty. You got your last star today, and you got all 5 dogs. Thank you for being good listeners. Okay, so what else can we do as we are finishing up today? You can make sure that you've completed all of your daily websites. Half of you are doing the iReady. You've put in your minutes and you've got it down. Some of you are not, and you're getting zeros in the grade book for those things. Make sure you're doing your website work. Also, check all the Google Forms to see if you've completed all homework, all classwork, and anything else you need to do. There'll be some things this week that'll pop up for Charlotte's Web that we'll do also together, okay? So make sure that you are checking daily. Thank you again to the ones that are doing their work. I cannot thank you enough. You are marking turn in. When you've done things, you're not marking turn in if you haven't done them. You are taking your time and doing them right, okay? That's the best you can do. All right, so you enjoy the rest of this Monday with your family, and don't forget all the things that we've talked about. Let me know if I can help you in any way, okay? All right. Well, you enjoy, and this time, make sure you are doing your humanity lessons with your art and music, PE, Spanish, and Miss Negley's humanity, okay? And get out there and enjoy some spring, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.